is up? Sexy people of the internet. It is Dave, it is Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from heavy metal powerhouse Firstborne. The band's new album, Lucky, will be released on August 8th via M Theory Audio. So, formed in 2019, Firstborne blend high-energy riffs, soaring vocals and thunderous rhythms to create a modern yet timeless sound rooted in classic metal, hard rock and shred guitar. Firstborne features legendary drummer Chris Adler of Lamb of God and Megadeth.
Interesting.
Virtuoso guitarist Myron, also known by some as the originator of soft shred, and electrifying vocalist Grish Pradhan of Grish and the Chronicles and The End Machine. The band first gained attention through a series of independently released singles and EPs between 2020 and 2023, showcasing their signature fusion of melody, technical precision and relentless groove. In late 2023, Firstborne recorded their debut full-length album, Lucky, with acclaimed producer Machine. Guitarist Marone explains how the album came together. When Chris, Grish and I connected in 2019, I said my number one goal in life was to get us all in the same room to jam. 4 years later, not only did we get in the same room, we went to Machine's barn in Texas for a month to create 10 piping hot metal jams for the whole world to enjoy. I had written around 150 songs, ideas before stepping in the studio, and we ended up using none of them. What you hear on the record was entirely written and recorded in Texas.
Some ideas, guys. How many have you got now? 150 of them. All right. Well, you know what? We'll just set aside a couple of days to listen to all your ideas. Or do we just say, nah, just put it down? That's what I would do. 150? No, let's not do that.
With Adler's iconic drumming, Myron's signature guitar work and Pradhan's dynamic powerhouse vocals, Firstborne are a force to be reckoned with in the hard rock and metal scene, delivering high-energy anthems that bridge the gap between old-school metal and modern intensity. So, this one was more curiosity, really, than anything else.
Well, the more that's come out about Chris Adler and his departure from Lamb of God, the more interesting things I've got. So I don't know how much you've been following this. So he basically had health issues.
Yeah, I knew about that. Yeah.
The health issues had like a direct impact on his playing, so much so that he's pretty much in interviews has come out and said, like a couple of the mainstay Lamb of God songs, he can't perform anymore. He just can't play them. And these are not the ones where it's like, you probably drop them from the set and replace them with it. These are like tracks that people would want to hear.
Yeah.
And rightly at that point, it becomes although the separation sounds like it was pretty nasty, there is a point where if you can't do the job anymore, but you can still do the job, like maybe not at the same level, then you don't want to see people just like hang up the sticks. If you can, we've always said to me, he's like the modern Dimebag in that he has an instantly recognisable drum sound. Yeah. Like, there are few drummers that have that when you hear it straight away, you're like, all right, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But he has went like, kind of like, he has not fully turned his back on.
No.
It doesn't sound anything like Lamb of God. It's what we're just putting out right now. If that was a curiosity that you had, then let me tell you right now, it's not Lamb of God V2.
No. I'm like, being a drummer, I was really interested in this. I've always had a soft spot for Chris Adler. Love his style. I think Art Cruz
should have been the Pantera drummer. We said this at the time.
Yeah, I know.
Like, in hindsight, that's a missed opportunity. Like, a huge missed opportunity, but...
Charles doing a good job. And I think Art Cruz does a good job in Lamb of God as well. I don't think he's quite as identifiable as Adler for me, but I think Chris has one of those styles where you hear it, you're just like, yeah, it's Chris Adler. So I was kind of curious to see how this would transfer into a band of a different style. Turns out pretty fucking well, not gonna lie. I had a pretty good time with this, and I'll get this out of the way early at the start here. This is not an album that is necessarily cutting edge in its style or in its ideas. It's an album full of big classic heavy metal bangers. They are kind of blending, as I said, the kind of classic shred sound with almost kind of like an arena rock kind of hook. It reminded me of a couple of things. Reminded me of like a kind of...
If you see Rockstar, the movie, I'm disconnected.
No,
it comes up every now and again, and I'm like, fucking, you're the only one that watches that movie.
It reminded me of like John Bush era Anthrax. So
fair play, yeah.
Kind of like early to late 90s Anthrax.
You have always been my safe home. Yep, I get it.
But with the kind of panache of a band like Extreme, there is a lot of Nuno Betancourt style guitar licks on this, a lot. And I don't mean like more than words. I mean like the good shit, like the like Porno Graffiti and Warheads, like the early 90s Extreme stuff that, you know, had a bit of balls, you know what I mean? But I'd never heard of this guy, the guitarist, Marone, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but I think looking online, he looks pretty young, maybe in his 30s possibly.
He already had 150 songs written. What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's like the man doesn't know there's tits online. You know what I mean?
He's all about the riffs, Duncan. All about the riffs. But yeah, he's clearly got a love for that era of the classic metal sound, and he's really fucking good at it. Like his technique is smooth. Like he's got that. I really love this in guitarists. Like he's got a natural kind of bend to his playing.
Yeah.
Like just each riff, he just kind of bends into it. It sounds awesome. And this album never feels like robotic or like too rigid. This stuff has a real kind of nice, kind of relaxed kind of feel to it. Very like late 80s, early 90s. You know, when times were simpler, Duncan. You know?
When musicians were musicians and computers weren't in a fucking recording studio, Dave.
Exactly, yeah. No fancy studio fuckery here. Yeah. There's no copying.
Well, the guy is called Machine, so he may be a robot.
Okay,
and we don't know. We don't know. He may be the Terminator.
No copy and paste bass drums. It has that like organic kind of feel about it. Like it's been created by guys that just love the genre and are paying homage to a lot of the classic rock and metal bands. Vocally, this is also great. Like Grish is, what I can see online, he's in a couple other bands, so he's got a bit of experience behind him, and those bands do have multiple albums out. They aren't massively different in style from Firstborne. I think there's some slight differences, but I think this is probably one of his best performances for me. Firstborne have maybe a touch more grit, you know, than those other bands. The guitars are a little bit heavier. And it almost kind of allows him the freedom to kind of let loose vocally a bit more. You can hear him leaning a bit more into those kind of high notes in a few tracks. He also gets a bit more kind of gruff on the likes of Wake Up or Human Interrupted, which is a bit more kind of chuggy and kind of choppy in rhythm. But like tracks like Again and Rescue Me and Shine are like huge, like with vocal melodies, and he absolutely nails it. Sounds great. I think there's a track called Shine where he also... There's a little bit of a kind of Chris Cornell thing kind of going on as well, which was cool. You're a bit kind of moodier sounding, which I really liked. So it's great, like musically, guitar-wise, vocally, loved it. The drumming was where I was kind of like, my interest was focused on this album. And listening to this, it sounds like Chris Adler is kind of having a ball here, to be honest. Like the guy
played the Lamb of God. This is I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy.
Yeah,
but there's gaps here.
I mean, I think the thing is, like, we know that, like, we've heard Chris play on countless Lamb of God albums, so we know this guy can play. Like, we know he can kill it. And like the album still has these little moments where he'll let the bass drums rip a little bit more, or he'll give you this like kind of really nice kind of fast fill around the kit and background the way. But like he did with Lamb of God, he's very good at like sitting in the pocket and just giving a track more feel than technicality.
Yeah, and like really understanding what the guitars bring in and just supporting that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what this album is all about. Like, its influences are of that era where, you know, they didn't fucking want a click track. You know, that the heartbeat of the album was the drums. They were the click track. And this has that kind of natural groove.
Do you have an erection right now? Like in the heartbeat of the track, is it like a...
You can't see it, but yeah. Chris just keeps this like nice and tight, very crisp, very natural playing. He may be like the most well-known member of this band, but he doesn't try to be the showman and make it all about him. Like, although the production does favour the drums a little bit, but what he does is exactly what is needed. But, you know, with that Chris Adler flair, you can still tell it's him absolutely behind the kit. On the kind of flip side of the positives, the album also has a kind of mid-album obligatory kind of ballad.
Oh yes,
Heaven's Return, which is fine. It's not my favourite moment, to be honest, but I think they deliver it well by having only a full before it, which is ever so slightly slower. So it actually transitions quite nicely into that kind of ballad territory. It's smoother. You know, it doesn't feel like they've just dropped it in. I also felt like the album didn't quite end as strong as it started. I think those first 3 or 4 tracks of the album are huge big hitters and really like get this album off to a great start. The last couple of songs on Lucky were good, but maybe not of that level. Prometheus had like cool guitar work. I loved there's some kind of nice kind of down-tuned parts on that track, which is cool. And Minefield was like that kind of high octane kind of closer on the album. But neither of them were quite as memorable as the likes of Again or Rescue Me, in my opinion. That aside, I did have a lot of fun with this, and it has some like absolutely killer hooks on it. I feel like when I'm in the mood for something just big and classic, and you know, it's just feel good. Like there's a lot of really kind of feel good melodies on it. I'll definitely come back to this and check it out again. Production is also like very fitting of that kind of style and era. They clearly have love for that kind of that time period. It's got that character about it. Drums are maybe a slightly more modern. They are very punchy drums, which I love as a drummer, to be fair. The drums should always be higher in the mix than everything else, but they don't overpower. It's not like intrusive, the volume of the drum. They're elevated for sure, but like it's not too much. I could still enjoy it without thinking like those are far too fucking loud. Yeah, I mean, it does what it says in the tin, but I kind of really enjoyed this. Duncan, what are you thinking? Oh.
So once again, I had done a little bit of homework. I would have been better prepared, but I didn't read the PR statement, and I'd forgotten that Chris Adler was in a band called Firstborne. So when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, that's right, he was in a band, and we did listen to a single a while ago. And I remember being like, that's fine. And this album's fine. If I'm being honest, I don't know what I wanted his next project to be. And I will stress this: his drumming is impeccable. His drumming is always impeccable. His production on his drums is always impeccable, which is why it's maybe a little bit louder than it needs to be. My issue with this is that I find it wholly unremarkable compared to the genre, right? So it reminds me of a lot of acts, which is, once again, not a bad thing. I mean, it nods to, at times, Van Halen. Like, I think it says that Human Interrupted has that kind of Hot for the Teacher vibe going on with it. Like, in the pace, the way the guitars come in, even the chorus is very kind of very similar. But, like, if I'm stripping it down and being objective, right?
Yeah.
Musically, the guitars are really good. Drumming is impeccable, and the guy can fucking sing, and it's littered with hooks, right? So on paper, I should like it, right? The problem I found when I was listening it through is fatigue set in pretty quick. Around about the halfway mark in this album, right. On the first listen, I was like, cool. Right, show me. And it's just more of the same to the end. And it was interesting as you said something off air about another review we did where I get a feeling we're about to invert here, where a lot of what I'm saying right now was using a positive light on something else. And maybe I'm using this now in a negative way, but like this is... It's so familiar, it kind of gets lost in terms of memorability for me overall. What it does benefit from is that, and I'm going to come back to the drums. The drumming, like, drummers didn't play back like that back then, right? Like, Chris Adler has a tone and has a punch about him that does make it stand out. Like no drummer from the 80s is playing that opener of Shine where he's doing like these really fast fucking like kind of fill roll things to start the song. No drummers doing that, right? They're maybe doing like that. They're not going brr, brr. Like, they're not doing that. So it's like, it's clearly a modern album. But listening to it, I was just struck by the predictability of the album. Like, I could tell where the song, even on the first listen, I could tell where the songs were going. I could tell how they were likely to finish, and it was seldom wrong. And while sometimes that's comforting to me in certain genres, and this genre, because it is there are more kind of albums of this sound than there are of thrash metal, death metal. You're like, it's a wash with them, so you're up against everything. And on that, it is a very middle of the road album for me. Surrounded by great playing, but great weather outside and all the rest. I should have been opening a beer and chilling in the back garden listening to this, and it got lost in the shuffle of other albums.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be a dick about it. It's going to sound like I'm being a dick about it. Musically, there's nothing wrong with this album at all, and all the players and vocalists are very good at what they do. They've just picked a genre which I am less invested in than others. So as a result, when it lands and they do it well and a chorus kicks in, I'm like, oh, cool. But I'm not like, fuck yeah. And I kind of want to be fuck yeah. The way I would describe this, and I'm going to upset you when I say this, and I do apologise. This to me is how I felt when I heard the Damage Plan album.
Ooh, Damage Plan.
It was like that, like in a world where I have Pantera, why would I listen to Damage Plan? In a world where I have all this amazing playing of this drummer on other albums, which I know he can't do anymore, and I know there's all these logistical things like that. The genre he's chose to come into is one that is a safe pick for me. I would like, you know what I mean? And that's like, medically, I can't play the fucking drums. And what he's doing is, I could practice for like the next 10 years and not be able to do what he does. So I'm not calling shots at that. But as a return back to something, as a movement, it's not underwhelmed. That's the wrong word. This to me is like forgettable. Right. So, it's fine. When I'm listening to it, I have fun. But when it switches off, I'm not like, let's spin it again. And I kind of feel like albums like this should be like, when it finishes, you want to spin it again. And it doesn't connect with me emotionally or musically in a way that makes me want to listen to it again. And it's not because of the playing. So I'm going to stress that. I would reach for umpteen albums of this same genre before I would listen to Firstborne. So, sorry.
That's okay. So
people say we agree too much, Dave. So let's just prove them wrong.
We are proving them wrong tonight, Duncan. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I found this a very memorable album. Apart from the last couple of tracks, which I think kind of tailored or kind of veered off a little bit. They weren't quite as high quality as the kind of first part of the album, but I really enjoyed it. Like I got to the end of this and was like, yeah, I will play this again. And I did play it like numerous times. I feel like musically, I think they're excellent at what they do. Like guitar wise, especially, I think that guy has got some serious like guitar chops. And yeah, I mean, he is like kind of paying homage to a lot of the big guitarists.
If you're in this genre, you have to.
Yeah,
like,
for
that's
sure.
literally it. So you have to, otherwise it doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
so.
You hear a lot of, like, as I said, Nuno Bettencourt or Big Sammy from Van Halen. There's a lot of that on this album, but he's very good at it. Like, he's very good at it. Yeah, I mean, it's nostalgic, but I kind of had a good time with this. Plenty of big melodies to sing along to, but equally great in the riffs department. For me, it's a 4 out of 5. I feel like for a first album, like, this is pretty good, and I imagine, like, if they are going to kind of keep at it, if this is going to be something that's going to continue on, they've got other bands and stuff, then I think there's definitely room to kind of grow and make the albums even stronger from start to finish. But on this first one, yeah, I enjoyed it. 4 out of 5. Duncan, what are you thinking? Is this a complete inversion of that previous review?
3's where I'm coming in, man.
Oh,
so yeah, 3.
Oh.
It's done. It's like it's not a 2.5, so it's not completely in the middle of the road here. But yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with anything you've said about the musicality and the intention behind the album. But the memorable stuff you mentioned and the need to play it again or whatever, the feeling, the vibe, want to play it again.
Yeah,
I did not have that.
Right.
So for me, I listened to it 3 times and I don't know if I'll ever listen to it again.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
Curious. I'm super curious to see if we get an album after this, and I would check it out because this is them defining their sound.
Yeah,
They're like, I can't imagine this is going to be a studio band. They will tour it.
Yeah.
And we'll see where that leads, and it may lead to something that's maybe where we can meet in the middle ground, Dave.
Maybe. Firstborne and Lucky out on August 8th via M Theory Audio. Check the links below at the pre-order, the band themselves, and I put one of the singles in there so you can check out. Have a listen, see what you think. Happy to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Try one more